welcome to Falcons Ledge. I'm Ostringer, and today we are going to be doing our initial impressions on the Virpil T-50 CM3 Gimbal and Constellation Alpha Prime joystick. So, I've already been into these just to make sure everything was there and that I would be able to do this without any issues, so I did open them. But now these are triple boxed, so we've got the Alpha Prime grip here. We'll plop that out. And we have the T-50 CM3. All right, so we've got these two things. We are going to look at the grip first. And it is nicely packed in here with foam. And it is not moving anywhere, which is a good thing. It comes with a little package of tools and what looks like a topper to one of the hats. So we'll put that aside. One thing to note is that it does have a shortened Allen wrench here for tightening up the collar. Don't lose that. I mean, you could make one. It wouldn't be that hard, but I'm just going to check to see if there's nothing else in the box besides the grip there. Since it is always a possibility that I'm going to end up selling these if I don't decide to keep them. So I'm going to keep all the packaging materials. Really nice. There we are. It is just the nature of doing reviews on stuff is that sometimes you need to recoup what you spent or be able to get money for the next thing, right? So I did adjust this a little bit, but here we are. So that's the grip. What I can tell you right now is that it's very girthy here and here. So in comparison to the competition, say the VKB SCG or the MCG Pro, both of them are much less girthy. Yeah, I mean I've got an SCG right here, a left hand. Pardon the dust on it, but look at the size difference there. Okay, so let's grab the MCG Pro. I don't have that one here. We'll do a full comparison. But yeah, the MCG Pro isn't a whole lot thicker in the grip portion of things than the SCG. But this thing it's very big here. Excuse me. Other than that, we've got some very clicky buttons. That detent there feels a little bit light in comparison to the Winwing one, and also especially the Gunfighter Mk.III MCGU. That flip down is very light. The spring on the axis here is pretty light. The twist is very light in comparison. Wow, that's really light. Some things I'm probably not gonna like is that this right here is a button and not a hat. So I'm not gonna like that because it's gonna mess me up in the F-16, which I just found out today for sure that a good friend of mine is gonna be sending me a Thrustmaster grip, so I will be using that in the F-16 and not this. So I'll be using this in everything else, the F-15, Star Citizen, stuff like that. So this should be just fine in those aircraft because it has enough hat switches for everything. I also wish that this was swappable for a hat switch instead of a mini stick. The reason being is that outside of Space Sims, there isn't a whole lot of use for this unless you're talking view. Most people that are going to be able to afford this piece of hardware are going to have VR, or they're going to have eye tracking or face tracking of some sort. I'm sorry, but when you get to this point, we really need the option for a hat here. And that's looking at you too, Winwing. Even though on the Winwing end, there's plenty of functionality in there already. This thing feels like a three-way. It is, yeah, three-way. It's not a five-way. All right, Yeah, 2 buttons, 2 5-way hats, and a mini stick on the face. Thumb has a 5-way. Other than that, the alloy, I'm going to say, is about the same as Winwing, not quite as nice as the Gunfighter. Yeah, that girthiness is really going to take some getting used to. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to look at what I consider to be the star of the show. I keep telling everybody this. Look, the gimbal is the star of the show when it comes to the stick. Why? Because it provides the feel. It provides the feel of the entire experience. Oh, that's nice. That thing is big. This thing is twice the size of a Gunfighter. Which, by the way, I don't really see... Okay, nothing else in there. I don't really see the size of the Gunfighter as really being a big advantage. Quite frankly, anybody who's using that should be using it mounted anyway, and I don't really think size is a huge feature in that regard. All right, so we've got this. There she be. Now, I don't know precisely how I'm going to mount this quite yet, because that is a different mounting pattern to my other sticks. Well, so there's not a ton to look at here. We've got some adjustment here and here, and then there's another adjustment here and here. So one of these two is the pre-tensioner, and the other 2 are the clutches. And I'll have to find out which one is which, and I'm not going to make a guess because, well, likelihood is I'll probably be wrong, and then you guys will call me out. Then I'll feel bad at myself. Maybe. It doesn't look like it comes with any damping and engaged there. Oh yeah, I did order a 100mm extension. So we'll stick that in there. We'll stick that in there. We have a USB. I always like to feel what the USB feels like. Pretty standard. Has this quick connect style. So we will grab that because we're going to need it. I'll hold on to that. I'm going to store that in there. And it looks like we have 2 different types of springs. That one looks like a lot heavier and that one looks a lot lighter, which I'm guessing we're going to have a medium one inside of here. Then we've got several cams. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. So that would mean 4 different types in here. I'll validate that. Anyway, we're going to try all of them. All right, so let's get down to this. What's inside here, because I really am interested to see this hardware. I mean, I've seen it on videos and things like that, but quite frankly, when you actually start messing around with it, everything changes for you. So let's do this. And my guess on the size was incorrect, so move up 1 size. What would be really neat is if there was another set of mounts underneath here that I can easily mount stuff to. Because my monster mount is set up for Gunfighter. Doesn't mean that I won't be won't be able to adapt it somehow, but adapting is no fun. All right, so there we have the hardware, and I gotta say, it's pretty. These are beautiful. Okay, so the way that this unit works, I'll try to get a best view as you can. It has a lever arm, a long lever arm, and that has the spring here. So when it pulls it, it compresses that spring, okay? Now the advantage to this is that your cam size and your lever arm is much larger. Larger lever arms are have more definition in them because you have a larger area that it moves. It also allows, and you can't see very well, it also allows for the leverage of the stick to be longer because the pivot point is up here instead of it's going to have to be much smaller in a smaller environment. That allows you to add strength. So this is designed from the offset to be used with extensions. And since I use them with extensions, that actually means something to me. So it looks like here are your dampers, and there's going to be another one right here for the other axis. And they look to be large dampers with metal on both ends of them. The wheel and the clamp are both metal. And I'm seeing 2 separate sensors, which is good. I like dual sensors more than one single 3D sensor. And it actually feels like it's got pretty good resistance for now. So I am going to, I think we can be sure now that this is the damper. So here's what I like to do. I'm going to put this together really quick, okay? So just take a quick look, and we know that this goes like this. Right in there. Make sure that that got seated. Yep. I do like this style of coupling method. I do. I like this style of coupling. Boy, that is so easy to turn in comparison to the MCGU. And the way that this is supposed to work is there are several grub screws in here, and those grub screws can be tightened just like so. I am not going to tighten all of them yet because I may have it apart again, but I was just going to demonstrate that you use these to tighten them down just so that this thing won't back off, okay? So there's that. And you know what my, oh, this has a jam nut here that I need to tighten apparently. And it is a non-knurled jam nut. What is up with that, Virpil? And what? I will tighten that up against the jam nut. There. What is up with the non-knurled jam nut? I guess you're supposed to adjust this and then tighten with this. So whatever. Okay. All right. I'll give that to you. That will work. All right. So one thing that I don't like here is this is super floppy. That's okay. We have a solution to this, and it is in the form of dampers. So we're going to tighten the dampers a little bit. This one's going to be this damper. Oh, see, much nicer. Okay, that's a bit much. And we don't want any hitchiness, right? We just want smoothness. The damper is not meant to stop you from moving it. It should have the same basic press, amount of press to move. It should just provide just a little bit of smoothness through your axis. Yes. This is where I will disagree with some other YouTubers about dampers and greasing. There is already grease inside this damper, I can guarantee you. It's there. Why? Because on any clutch, on any friction-based element, virtually, there is some kind of lubrication. Whether that lubrication comes from part of the clutch element that is shed, or whether or not that is a fluid, or whether or not that is a grease, you will have some kind of lubrication. Because if you don't have lubrication, you will prematurely wear that clutch, and you will have issues with stiction. So you will have lubrication in here. The question is, does the manufacturer put an adequate amount of lubrication so that you don't have any hitching, so that it's a smooth actuation while still providing you with the damping that you want? That's the question. So that's why on the Winwing dampers, they absolutely had to be regreased because they didn't provide any lubrication. They were meant to just hold it in place, and that isn't, it can do more than that. So, all right, so that seems to be good. Has a pretty good general feel so far, but I need to get this mounted somehow, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. We also have this 100mm extension, which I will definitely be trying, and we'll go from there. And you know what? I believe that I am gonna try the Warbird as well for a side stick. So I may be picking one of those up in the near future and doing the Warbird and also the CM3 and testing the whole Virpil suite. So I'll keep you posted. This testing, since this is a full gimbal, anytime I do a full gimbal test, it takes a while because gimbals out of all of the devices are the most complicated to test because there's a lot of factors involved in the whole thing. So stay tuned. I will get this out. It should be after Christmas sometime when this review comes out. So don't be expecting it till then. I also have some new things starting at the beginning of the year, so that may slow things down a little bit, but I will try my best to get this thing out in a reasonable amount of time. But anyway, keep an eye out, fly safe, have fun, and more than anything, have a great holidays.